and welcome to another version of Putt Putt Productions Presents. And I realize I haven't done one of these in a long time, and I have just published 2 little books recently, so I should probably put a couple out there where I read excerpts from them. The one I'm going to do today is the excerpt from Firebird Suite, kind of glary here. Canto Sibylla Book 2, so it's Book 2 in the Canto Sibylla. It follows the Holly and the Ivan. And so I'll read a little bit of that today. The music you hear will be pieces from the Firebird Suite by Stravinsky, because it's kind of loosely based on Firebird of that fame. Anyway, it's a paranormal romance, just as Holly and Ivan was, and it's probably rated G or early PG. And there is some swearing in the book for those of you who have kids, but I'm not going to read the swearing out loud today. So anyway, here we go. Chapter 1. It all began on a blustery day. Oh, and for those of you who live in Bellingham, Southport is based on Bellingham, Washington, and so you'll recognize some of the landmarks I described, some of the things I describe about Southport are based on Bellingham, and the reason I call it Southport instead is so that I can take drastic poetic license with things and mess it around. So anyway, just to let you know, it all began on a blustery day. Nicole picked restlessly at the strings on her guitar, staring out the bay window in the living room as it dripped with late winter rains. Outside, it was what one of her favorite poets would have called a blustery day. It looked as restless and ready for adventure out there as she felt inside, but there wasn't time for that. She flicked her eyes over to her music theory book and sighed, putting her guitar down and pulling the book toward her. One more term, just one more. Nicole grit her teeth. More than anything right now, she just wanted to be out there somewhere, playing music or working at anything, even though she had no idea what she was going to do once she graduated. Hell, she'd settle for doing dishes down at the Horseshoe Cafe or cleaning fish up in Alaska. Anything but studying music theory and being stuck in the house on a late winter's day. Tossing her honey-colored hair back over her shoulder, Nicole sighed and bent down in the window seat over her textbook, one leg tucked beneath her. She read over the text again, massaging her hands where the scars from injuries decorated hands. Souvenirs from filleting fish the past summer made themselves known with stiff, sore muscles. A strand of hair drifted down over her shoulders and onto the page. She scooped it behind her ear. A minute later, she felt an itch in the middle of her back. Continuing to read, she tried reaching behind and scratching it with her nails. Then, picking her book up, she backed herself against the molding in the bay window and tried to rub her spine. Felt good until she lost her balance, falling off the bench seat and dropping her book. Nicole heard a cough, looked around and saw her roommate, Julie, smirking down at a book she was reading, Hud nodding to whatever was coming through her earbuds. Julie's dark hair was covering her face, so Nicole couldn't quite tell if Julie was laughing at her or the 17th century Restoration literature she was reading. Nicole suspected it was the former. Picking her book up, she settled down to read again. A moment later, Nicole felt an itch on her scalp as another strand of hair drifted across her vision. Ah, this is impossible! Nicole shoved herself off the window seat, stomping into her bedroom to grab a brush and hair elastic. So take a break, Julie looked up from her book. I just took a break. I can't take another one, can I? Julie arched an eyebrow at Nicole. Well, then give me a break. You're driving me nuts. Julie flipped a page dismissively. The phone next to Julie chirped a text. Nicole looked closer as Julie leaned over to check who it was and saw the pages of a magazine hidden in the book. Is that a Marie Claire? Julie ignored the question and went back from her phone to the magazine nestled in the covers of her textbook. Nicole shook her head and turned back to the window, glaring at the rain outside. If only it would just really pour, thunder and lightning and everything. Either that or quit. I'm tired of this pissing stuff. Nicole flipped off the rain that had been a semi-constant dribble for the last few days, one of the payments for living in the Evergreen State. Why can't I live someplace where we get snow and sunshine during the winter? I wish February was over already. Don't take it so personal, Nikki. March will be here in a couple of days, and then you'll be right as rain. Holly, Nicole's other roommate, winked at Nicole, laughing at her own joke. She had breezed into the kitchen from her bedroom, raiding the fridge for sandwich makings and water, glowing with a visit with her boyfriend Ivan. The fuchsia highlights she added to her short red hair for Christmas had faded, but her cheeriness had not. "It's not like the weather is out to tick you off now, is it? Go for a walk." "Easy for her to say," muttered Nicole as she glared at Holly's retreating back. It wasn't just Holly's afterglow cheeriness that got on her nerves. It was this time of year, the bud end of winter before it quit for good, allowing spring to grab hold and burst forth. The waiting made her restless, cranky, and euphoric all at once, and worse on these in-between days when it couldn't decide whether to be cold and rainy or warm and balmy. Nicole grabbed her keys, studying be damned, shoved her feet into her hiking boots, and put on her jacket as if she were going out to do battle. Holly's suggestion had been a good one, even if the way it was delivered made Nicole want to growl at her. "I'm going for a walk," she announced. "Don't forget to stick your license in your pocket so we can ID the body," Julie said, hiding behind her book. Sorry. Nicole rolled her eyes at Julie's gruesome remark, but transferred her license from the wallet in her jacket to her jeans pocket anyway. It was usually Holly who attracted unwanted attention, but you just never knew these days. And Southport had been the home of no less than three serial killers at one time or another. Nicole skipped down the old wooden steps, skidding on the wet paved walk before heading out to explore. She wasn't sure where she'd end up: school library, coffee shop, or maybe the park. If it weren't so overcast, she'd follow the interurban walkway that wound through green areas of the city until it reached the bay. Hell, I might do that anyway. This would be a perfect day for it. I'd be alone. Nobody likes to walk on days like this. Maybe it was living with other people that got under her skin, but she didn't know what she'd do if she weren't living with the band. She trusted them with everything. Maybe it was not having a job this final year of school. She'd spent the summer processing fish up in Alaska, working 12-hour days knee-deep in fish guts, slicing and dicing her own hands a couple of times, and sharing bunk rooms with 9 other women to save enough money so she wouldn't need to work during the school year, except for their band gigs. Maybe that had been a mistake. Whatever it was, Nicole felt like she was ready to crawl out of her skin lately. Shoving her hands in her pockets, she picked up her pace even more, moving her long legs into her favorite walking rhythm, slamming down her boots in an effort to shake the demon at her back. Coming to a fork in the path, she looked up. She'd come farther than she thought along the interurban. Was it at the point where she could go either down to the water or up the hill to the lookout over the bay? She chose to go up and around rather than down. Today she didn't need the water. She needed the mountains and the workout trudging uphill would bring. She swung around, following the curve of the path up the hill, feeling some of her edginess fall away as she went into the trees, the path gradually turning from uniform landscape pebbles to well-worn dirt, rocks, and roots. She reached the lookout, sweating and breathless from her fast-paced hike, but finally feeling at home inside herself. The misting had ceased, the wind dying down to a breeze, the gray day lightening up slightly, though not quite letting any sun through. She took a deep breath, pulling stray strands of hair back from her face as she looked out over the town and the bay. The gulls and herons dipped and glided out over the water while the crows called out in the trees closer at hand. She wondered what it would be like to fly like that. Something deep inside her released. Nicole felt the familiar pull of music, and searching for a semi-dry rock or fallen tree trunk on which to perch, she pulled a stub of pencil and paper out of her jacket pocket and started working out the tune and lyrics she had spinning in her head. After a moment, she dug deep into her jeans pocket and pulled out her lucky pick. As she wrote and hummed along, she twirled the pick in her fingers, trying to limber them up. She felt the music soar through her inner ear, and it wasn't the earthy grounding of a 3-chord progression that they regularly played. This song was going to need to take off and fly. Forgive some of the stumblings. Anyway, I hope that intrigued you enough to want to maybe perhaps purchase a copy of Firebird Suite, which is also available in an ebook format for $1.99, or you can get the paperback. And it's available now through Lulu, and later on it may be available through Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. So thank you. Have a great day.